What's up, guys? Welcome to another CryptoSphere. I know it's been an incredibly long time since me and Cid have done something, but I'm your host, Cyflux, and I'm with my co-host, Sid Vicious. We want to kind of give you guys a breakdown of what we're seeing on the charts and how it coincides with the markets right now and what direction they're heading. I just got back from traveling to Germany and Texas, and I've been traveling quite a bit for work, so I've been very busy. It's the reason why we really haven't had the time to get a video together. Life just gets in the way, and I think Sid was also pretty busy as well.
Yeah, I was in China, as some of you probably seen on Twitter. Had quite an experience, and yeah, we've been pretty busy, but for anyone who is our follower, knew that we were only going to do these like once in a while because there's only so much content that you can really do per this cycle. But we always want to do a macro trend projection and kind of drill into where we are with this 2016 and 2019 macro trend analysis from a contrast standpoint. And right here in front of us, we have our CryptoSphere TA XRP chart, a walk through the desert video. And for any of you who are new followers of me on Twitter or on YouTube, maybe you guys are not aware of this particular video. It's a very long-winded video. I do long videos, so if you're not into that, I'm sorry. I like to make sure that I present enough information for you guys to go with based on the theory and my opinion that I present. So Cyflux is not really a chartist individual, but we are cooperatives on this, and I'm more of the charting individual. He's more of a fundamental perspective of XRP and what we do in the cryptosphere. So I come to the table with presenting some of the TA that is involved through my capacity, right? So
yeah, and Sid has also made some pretty amazing calls, even just in private chat. He'll hit me up and say, "Hey, check this out. This is going to be crazy." And then, lo and behold, a couple days later, it actually happens. And then I'm like, "Crap! Why didn't I make a move on that?" But at the same time, I think there's a lot of people out there that are like me that are not particularly into charting and not into trading. And they're more about the fundamental background of where XRP is heading, what's going on with Ripple, and not to say Sid's not too, but I think overall we're almost like two different perspectives. He's very focused on the aspect of the trading market in itself. And I'm very focused on utility, so I feel like we bring a pretty good mix to the table. So I still have questions about charting and still have questions about what he sees and stuff. So I'll try and do my best to bring that across the table and bridge questions maybe people that don't chart have for Cid.
Yeah, and it's a good point. For me, I like to consider both from a fundamental standpoint and a technical analysis standpoint. I just want to let everyone know I am not a seasoned trader. I am self-taught. I am not the one to be your financial advisor on all this, so I have to give my disclaimer that this is just for representation. You are accountable for your own trading decisions. I'm not trying to show you how to trade. I don't show you how to. I'm not actually qualified to teach anyone on any of this. I'm just sharing what I see in the charts and what does it tell me, and then I let you guys develop your own opinion internally, whether you agree or not. But it's also to kind of help you guys make better decisions on what you see. So this is all observational and hopefully to help you guys maybe open your eyes to different ideas and opinions of what others see, and maybe maybe it'll help you guys as we move forward in time with
Right.
this cycle. So yeah, and regardless, we've been seeing amazing news as we've been moving forward with
Yep.
the inception, right? I mean, all the partnerships, financial institutions that are getting involved, all that stuff with MoneyGram right now. It's just amazing. So
MoneyGram partnered with Ripple, and then you have MoneyGram partnered with Visa. If Ripple has an agreement with MoneyGram to basically utilize XRP, they didn't do this 2-year contract for nothing. They didn't pay them $50 million for nothing. This is something that they are rolling out. And you're not going to have a big company like Visa come out and talk about cross-border payments or even choose to go with MoneyGram when they could easily find different corridors or figure out a different way. Why would they specifically choose MoneyGram if they weren't going to use what MoneyGram has for liquidity, which is XRP?
Right.
Visa doesn't have to go out and go buy a bunch of XRP. They don't have to take the risk. They can make those moves without picking up any of the blowback. We're still waiting on regulations. I feel like that's been a constant issue. It's something that everybody always brings up, and it's just not happening. But I do not feel like the U.S. is behind. I think they know what they're doing. I think there's a lot of background play, and I think they are pretty close to finishing up the plan, or whatever you want to call it, and eventually we'll see a mass rollout from governments all over the place. You're already having a bunch of you're having a bunch of countries come together, like with BRICS, trying to push out the U.S. dollar. So you're seeing a lot of change there. You're seeing a lot of blowback to the dollar, and you're seeing a lot of collapse within the stock market. Even though it looks like it's pumping up, we're looking at a crash coming up like pretty soon. Yeah.
Negative interest rates around the world. And is that IMF has said they want disruption, right? If they want to bring about this digital economy, this is a must. She said it will be painful, right? Christine Lagarde. She said that, and this is all part of the plan. So we're all bear witness to what's happening here. It's just amazing that the majority of people out there, whereas us, the individuals within this community, have the foresight to see, we're peeking into what the future will unfold. It's going to be ugly. It's going to suck. But to hedge against what this is happening, we're in digital assets, and we'll be the ones who are more secure into those who are with traditional assets. Who knows specifically what traditional assets will fail? That's all up to the individual to figure out with their own due diligence. But from a speculative standpoint, we're in digital assets, and if the IMF and these big financial institutions are moving, they're gearing to this, right? And just from a mass adoption perspective, I have in front of me my Galaxy Note 10, and I am using Samsung Pay. I actually literally tried it out. I used my club membership card at my grocery store, and I scanned my debit card with my phone in case if I ever forgot my debit card, I can still use my phone to make that payment at the grocery store.
Right.
So I think, like, what, kind of going along with what you're saying is America may seem like they're behind, but I think they're a sleeper in all this. They don't want to show their hand, possibly.
Yeah, I see, like, you just had China bring out the CBDC. They said that, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency was illegal. They had that going on for 5 years, constantly tanked the market, constantly manipulated the market. And then they turn around and they're like, oh, by the way, we've been developing a CBDC for, 5 years, and we're fixing to roll it out with, backed gold. It's like, dude, you can tell that these governments and stuff know what the hell they're doing. They know what their plan is. They are paying attention to this space. They're paying attention to the technology. What we're in right now is we are in early.com. I know everybody's heard that 1,000 times, but we are seriously on the brink of serious
Crypto.com.
change. Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, it's insane to see such change. I'm not trying to, when I bring up, like stock market crashing and stuff like that, I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm really not trying to make people panic or, think, oh crap, I got to go to the store and buy a bunch of shit. I don't. That's not my point here. It's really just breaking down and trying to bring a perspective that we are going through fundamental change. Who knows if the United States is going to be like, oh well, this crash is happening. Let's go with XRP. Let's go with Ripple's solution. I mean, Ripple has been meeting with the Trump administration. They've been doing it for a couple of years now. So who knows what's going on there? That Ripple is pro regulations. They're with the system. It's personally my best bet. This whole market is a bet, and you have to take that in consideration and really think about that. But for the most part, like, I'm pretty confident in what's happening. If you don't pay attention and you aren't following, like, if you're not following Darren on Twitter,
Darren Moore,
or look at the 63 page document that I put out, that was his work, on I think it's on my Twitter right now. You can go look at the pin message, but there's a 63 page document where you can go in and dive into what connections Ripple has. I mean, the scale is massive. And I feel like a lot of people, especially like BTC Maxis and Litecoin and Ethereum, people are just not paying attention, and they still think, XRP is a shitcoin, whatever. Let them think that. Let them do whatever the hell they want to do. If you are confident and you know what's going on, I think you're in the right place. And I, again, not trying to scare anybody. Like, if you want to hedge yourself against any sort of crash or anything like that, maybe look at physical gold or silver. Those are good things to basically have. Maybe look at something that, in case the economy does go super south and people lose jobs and you need food and water and stuff like that, there's always places to find that. Just get it ahead of time. You'll be fine. But I don't necessarily think it's going to get to that direction. I think that there is I feel like there is a backup plan here. You don't have Trump coming out and talking about how the Fed is awful and how they are pretty much screwing everything up. I mean, he's called out the Fed multiple times throughout his presidency. So I feel like they know what's coming. They know that this is a failed organization. It's privately run. It's built to fail. And I think their contingency plan is backed up by some way, either creating a USDC type digital currency that's backed by gold, something in that direction. Yeah, it's going in towards a stable coin. You're still going to need a bridge asset for all these stable coins.
Yep. It's essentially going to be a battle of every country's stable coin. And I think that's where the tie-in for the level playing field comes into to the picture, and how, XRP is that bridge asset to interlink all of them as they've already shown. And if any of you are not aware of that, I would highly look into this, because it's a big deal. And a lot of people want to knock on XRP for being a faulty utility use case, but
yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Don't listen to other people's, even us, like whatever we say, double check it for yourself. Get the information firsthand, not secondhand. That's just where we come from. We're trying to be fair and subjective to this current landscape that we're in. It's a financial landscape that there's going to be a lot of scammers and people with FUD or coming up with a bunch of nonsense. I would like to eliminate as much as possible and reduce it down to a more logical understanding without any emotion involved as much as possible. Yes, I'm extremely bullish on XRP, but I want you guys to see that for yourselves. Why are you invested in your investment? Why are you? Are you doing it because Aunt Susie said, "Oh, XRP is number one"? Well, why? Why do you think it's good? So, do your research, understand why is it important. We've already done that, so we're just asking for you to do that yourselves.
Double check us and make sure that we're on the right point. I mean, we want to have communication between people in the space. Comment back to us. We'll reply to you and try and give you our best answer of why we think this or that. But it's definitely something that we're trying to create open dialogue, and we're not here to try and force some opinion down your throat. We just want to give a fair and balanced perspective.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just where we come from. So in this video, we'll probably put out the timestamps of from the conversational to the charting as well, so that way you guys can quickly jump to those links.
Right.
And I kind of want to give a shout out to one of my followers. His name is TL, and he's at TUNGLLE. He's on Twitter, and he presented a new chart to me that encapsulates all of the coin market cap data of XRP's history. Whereas a lot of chartists or anyone attempting to chart XRP, XRP is a very limited data driven asset that we have to use from a charting perspective. And I just want to say, hey, thanks, TL, for that. And another individual that I would like to shout out to is the blockchain backer. He's on YouTube. He's another TA chartist on XRP. He does provide a very good, fair and subjective analysis of XRP. So look him up on YouTube. I just want to give him a shout out. I just recently saw him, and I was like, okay, we need more people like him in a space to help us understand the price movements of XRP and what the macro view looks like from a projection standpoint. There's a lot of people out there who are saying, past history doesn't make, today. And you know what? I'm going to disagree with that, and I'll prove why. So if you are willing or interested to see why, stay tuned for that, and I'll show you. But for any of you who want to knock on TA and you want to, throw some dirt on my plate, that's fine. You can do that all you want. It won't change. You know what, guys? I accumulate a lot of XRP. So some of you have asked my strategy. My current strategy is to accumulate until the end of the cycle on my positions. And I do have my exit strategies in place. So my focus is trading, but I trade to accumulate as much XRP as possible. I'm playing squirrel right now and getting ready for this amazing winter that we're going to be having. And you know what? You guys are going to be shocked. It's going to be a lot of blood on the streets coming, but the sun will rise later on. And hopefully I can, shed some light on that. And, maybe Cyflux, do you want me to go ahead and begin, or?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, how do you perceive, just real short, how do you perceive your past charting through, like, say, a walk through the desert? Do you still feel like what you said then is still applies today? Do you feel like you were on the money? Do you feel like there's some things, some perspectives that have changed? What's your take on that?
Yeah, so from our video, it seems to be very on point from what we initially started from. And even before that, I called for a rally to see XRP hitting, 45 cents plus. And sure enough, 1 week later, or not even less than that, the rally happened, and it went all the way up to like 55 cents, right? And then eventually, it retraced back down to 30 cents. And I was like, see, I told you.
Yep.
And it was only because I saw the trend from at that period of time. I didn't know that this was going to continue. So after I've been monitoring this, I was like, hey guys, so some of you have probably been seeing me post like these little contrasts. Like, look at this. This is like still following. So I'll show you from like a weekly perspective. We'll get it down to a daily and then down to like a 3 hour. And then if you guys are really wanting to see this from a 15-minute perspective, I have that for you as well because of this chart that TL has presented to me that I can use because it gives me 15-minute data all the way back in 2016. So very interesting. And it may be part of this new speculative move that we could be coming. So if you're wanting to see this potential move, it's nothing significant, but what I want you to get from this is how consistent this trend is. And I want you guys to realize price action is not the thing to focus on. You'll see some fluctuations of price, but it's the trend. You're going to see a trend of how this is moving. And hopefully I can convey that and maybe you can visually see that. So, let me know if you want me to get started and I'll go ahead and break into that.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So, so as of right now, we're going to go ahead and start on this daily chart of XRP USD. This is on TradingView, and I just want to remind everyone, that today is December the 7th, and this is, some of you may see this at a later time. So, as you see it right now, this is where we currently are on the daily chart of XRP, and right in front of us, I have two moving averages, and I'm gonna show you why I say where we are and why others are saying where they think we are. I'm not going to say that I am the all-knowing and I am right, but here I understand that we are doing this shape of price action, right? And a lot of folks are going off of this right here, and we're supposed to moon in the next coming days, weeks. And I'm like, sure, I don't mind being wrong. I would love to retire at that time.
Yeah, I'd
I
like you
don't
to be
mind.
wrong too.
I will go on Twitter, I'll go on YouTube and say, dude, guys, I was wrong, but I'll have champagne in my freaking hand. I don't
Yep.
care.
It's true.
But from my own opinion of where I'm seeing this from a trend analysis standpoint, I disagree that this area that we're currently going through is right here. And I'll show you why. So right in front of us, we have the so I do have the 500-day moving average, which is this yellow line, and I have the purple, which is the 600-day moving average. And if I zoom in here, where did they intersect at? Right when we took off. Think about that. Those are the only two moving averages that I have intersecting at that moment in time back then, before we kicked this thing off. Now, if we go back to as of today, we saw where they crossed before, and we're still gapped out right here. So it would suggest that they're supposed to be getting close, right? And we were in a very long, narrow gap before it crossed. Is this a confirmation or an indication that we can look forward to confirm how close we're getting, right? I want to share this detail, and Blockchain Barrister from Twitter shared this with me. So I want to give him credit. He's been awesome. Someone to discuss some of the charting with him. He deserves all the credit for this indicator. So think about that, guys. Right? It's what the chart is saying, right? Now, as you can see how much this wicked down, right? We're going to notice that back then, how crazy and wild it was. And even Blockchain Backer was even discussing this as well. How he was, saying the same thing that I mentioned, how we wipe this slate clean. Whatever we gained gets wiped out. And that's why I tell you guys, this is the accumulation zone down here. It's all accumulation. It'll rise up and it'll come right back down and wipe it out. Whatever was gained until the very moment we're going to break out, supposedly. That's the speculative understanding. At that very last second, everything will be wiped out. Whatever was gained, whoever hodled, whatever, it goes all the way back down. Do you lose? No. It just means whatever value or anyone that was up here just has to wait till this moment in time when
Right.
that arrives.
Now,
Right?
this is basically based off of market trend. It's not utility. And I feel like that's a lot of what's going to be going through people's heads. Well, this isn't true because this is basically off of speculation. Da 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 da. Yeah, we know that.
Yeah.
This is a speculative understanding of current market trends, how they've worked in the past, how it applies today. This has nothing to do with actual utility. So, you could be following this chart. We could have this play out for the next forever, how long Cid thinks it's going to play out. But we could go into utility by,
whenever
quarter, next quarter to where price just goes insane.
whenever it happens.
Yeah, you can't really tell when it comes to these sort of things, especially since we don't know when the proverbial switch is going to come on. So if you're going to trade, my best suggestion is maybe, put some aside. Don't put all your XRP or trading into longs or shorts, and then you totally get boned when this thing takes off.
Yeah.
Just be smart. Keep some to the side. Keep some that's gonna be able to prepare you for in case it does go crazy and it does moon.
If something happens,
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are thinking like, well, news will hit and then it'll happen. No, this will happen and it'll become news. So
Right.
for anyone who is not holding or sitting on the sidelines, kind of wondering, that's just something something to consider. Right? You want to consider that. Who knows when this is going to pop off and they activate utility for this? Who knows? Not even I will know. The chart won't tell me that. That's a fundamental perspective.
Right.
Right now I have the Gaussian channel in front of me, and we are on the daily chart here. And I just want to show you guys the trend here, just using the Gaussian channel. I'm not going to be using it in the way that it's intended to be used as an indicator, but from a trend perspective, you're going to see, where we are in this particular cycle and where we are in this cycle as well. So as there is more data to show back here, but we're not going to talk about that chart yet. For now, you're going to see a contrast or a similar comparison of how these correlate, right? And there's going to be some changes in how XRP moves in time. It either contracts or expands, but it somewhat stays consistent from beginning to end. And I apologize if my my chart is kind of moving a little bit on me, but just to kind of get a gauge of where we were. Is about 838 days, right? For that. And we can do just a quick one here of 830. So we're looking at like an April time frame of having a similar cycle of the beginning of the bull market for XRP. And I'm only talking about the bull market of XRP. A lot of people out there are confusing other coins. Like Bitcoin's market is actually their consolidation is already over. It was very brief. XRP in this case has a very long consolidation. So just so you guys understand real quick, this is the bear phase. It was just under a year. It's about a year, right? So Same thing here. We are about 340. And just so everyone is aware, is that this is a consolidation phase. See how we're bouncing around? We consolidate price discovery, right? And there is support and resistance from prior price action. And that's what is going on. This is support. It'll act as support because we are on top of it. And eventually we're chumming through it uh, over a period of time. And you'll notice we keep hitting resistance because of prior price action. And you're going to see that there's like this divide of where we are above or below this resistance level. And you can see right here, there's a line going straight across of support and resistance, right?
Right.
And then there's this point in time where we're testing that overhead resistance and we finally break through it. Finally. So, is there a rule to say XRP has to consolidate for a specific amount of time? No. It's what is the emotional sentiment of the market. And as we can see, they are descending triangle patterns or a descending wedge in this case. It would be a fair way to discuss this, right? And then eventually we break out of that wedge and then we consolidate it again. And then we broke out, which essentially this is actually a bull flag. So we bull flag, we top out all-time high, bear market consolidation. We are still in consolidation and we are testing our prior support area right now. And, I've seen people asking me like, hey, are we going to hit like 7 cents and all that? I was like, no, I don't see that because anything that's like sub 20 cents is going to be pretty tough. You know, I seen some asking about the 17, 16. It's doable, right? Because this is where we're at. There is still an area where we have support here.
Yeah, and I'm always seeing Tony Valentino talk about how, if XRP does drop significantly to say 6 cents or something like that, they'll have to basically pay back their customers however so much they bought OTC, because they have to basically fix any losses that they had that's in their contractual agreement. And so, when people say that, oh, it's going to go down this low, or it's going to go sub penny, I honestly don't believe that's going to happen, simply because if it does, they're just going to be like, okay, turn on the utility, let's get this thing back up. And so, yeah, I feel like there's a lot of there's a pretty good foundation there for it not to get wiped down that far.
Well, going back to that chart, this already says when it comes to charting, right, doing any TA, we look at probability, and looking at the probability of us going to the downside and breaking market structure back down to these levels is
right. What level is that? How low is that? Like,
we're talking like 0.004.
Yeah, there's just no way. Yeah, because as soon as it passes that, it has to go down to that next level right there, right? But that's not even enough support.
This is not enough. It was like a blinking of an eye in contrast to the macro, right? So yeah we'll probably like, and then boom, like waterfall right into it. So if
it went down that low, God, I would be so happy.
I would shorten it.
Yeah.
I would make a lot of XRP.
It's not going to go down that low. I don't ever think it's going to go that low again.
And the other fundamental to keep in mind is that the Bitcoin is like the Dow Jones of the crypto market, right? So it does have a high dominance right now, and it's going to dictate the moves of the other altcoins like XRP in general. So as of right now, dominance is well over 60 something percent, and it's been hitting 70s we're going to follow.
Keyword right now. Right? That's the keyword right now. Doesn't mean that later it's not going to change. Yeah.
Yeah. So for now, we only have to follow what the chart is showing. If utility is activated, sure. We don't know. I don't think anyone knows what that price will look like. We're only going to make like fools trying to guess. We can have our dreams in this case.
Yeah.
And I will talk about some price projections from a TA perspective. It won't be indicative to what the utility will look like, but this will kind of help gauge in this case from an analysis standpoint. So I'll be able to present that near the end of this if you guys are willing to watch that. So as before, I did say that the golden crosses and the death crosses never really have much of an impact on XRP's price movement, even on a daily chart, even on the weekly chart. I've already proven that. So if you want to see that, you can look at the walk through the desert video, and that's where that will be provided if you are willing to see that or you're interested. Here, we're beyond this. So the Chinese New Year, synchronicity of reaching all-time highs on, there's some sort of impact of Chinese New Year. I've also discussed that and I debunked it. And I want to correct myself on the halvening, the Bitcoin halvening not having an impact on XRP. It does indirectly, but it's offset because it's months later. That is the only reason, and that's because of a Bitcoin fundamental in that case, and I can kind of cover that as well. So here, like I said, we can kind of see the trend, and I'm going to go to the weekly chart on here.
Yeah.
And look at this. I mean, when I start seeing the green coming up, I'm going to get a little bit excited. Okay. And I know some of us have been going, oh yeah, we're like right here. We are right here. I was like, we're not, because if you look, even this even shows us where we really are. And we've been underneath the Gaussian. And then until we get that next rally, we're actually like right here, guys. You see this little dip right here? Look at this. We have not gone over yet. If we are indeed following this trend, we have not even gone over the median. So at this point,
what is a time frame on something like that? Like say those humps, because like if you're looking at those humps, like how long is one of those humps? I don't think people are like really understanding how long something like that is.
You want to touch my humps? So we're looking at, it was a couple months of a move, and both of these moves are the same in nature. So everyone's drawing their trend lines like this, which is good because it lets you know when the next potential rally will pop off, and that's like what we're going through right now. We just finished this. Here we have a long wick and a prior market action, but this is kind of like where we're at. We're kind of going down right now, right? We're going down. So I'm going to show you guys what this looks like as of from 2016 to 2019, and I'm getting ready for this guy. I know some of you think we're doing this. A lot of people are suggesting it. I disagree, and I'm going to show you why. I'll let you guys develop your own opinion about that based on what I show. And you're always welcome to say, no, I don't agree, Cid, but you don't need to call me names or anything because it doesn't float with your dream, so I don't care what you want. I'm just showing you what the chart is saying. So this is all visual perspective, but I disagree that we are right here. I would love, oh man, I can't wait. I would love it, but I'll show you why not. So here we tested it. We're coming down. I'm speculating We're going to go through a nice little pump right here, and then we're going to go sideways. We're going to travel sideways and then get really boring. You guys are going to be crying throughout the December, rolling into the January timeframe. You guys are going to be squabbing, fighting with each other. Oh, XRP sucks. I'm going to go to Digibyte, like Hex or whatever. I don't care. Do whatever you want, but I'm just letting you guys know it's going to get really boring, but who cares? Have we gone through boring stages? Yes. And I think if we gone up to this point, it should be a no-brainer by this point in time. So don't worry about it, guys. Hopefully I'll shed some light on what the emotional expectations can look like, and maybe I can help settle some nerves of having false expectations. And that's why I'm able to sleep at night and I can trade at the same time. I don't care. I'm accumulating because I know or I feel from a speculative standpoint of what is coming. So now that we've seen the weekly chart, let's go ahead and look at it in a different perspective, in a side-by-side comparison. Here we are in 2016, and here we are as of today. And as we zoomed in on this, I do have Heikin-Ashi candles. I do swing trades. I'm not using the traditional candle stick patterns, but that's fine. This helps me see the trend of the moves. So, but I mean, Cyflux. I mean, if you look at this, we're coming down, and there was a different type of wick right here,
Right.
where it pumped, and this is kind of part of the contraction and extension of the cycle that I was kind of talking about before. Here we actually extended the market, and here the market contracted a little bit, and that's why we're going to see this oscillation.
I'm assuming you're going to ask, like, what do I see when I look at this?
Yes.
So the way that I look at these is I try not to look at them as they need to be exactly 100% right. What my eyes do is I'm looking just for a pattern. I'm looking for something that it looks like it's going in the same trend. You're seeing the same sort of movement. It's not exactly, but it's enough to where you can see that there is actual correlation between the two. And I think if you just kind of take a fresh glance at it, that's what it looks like. I mean, you did a really great job kind of pinning these lines up and creating a side by side to where it's easy for the eye to kind of understand what's going on. So yeah, I mean, I do think you're definitely onto something with this.
Yeah, and remember when I called swell event going to be a pump and dump?
Yeah, and it's funny because like I had everybody and their grandmother telling me, "Oh no, swell is gonna. This is when the big stuff's gonna happen. Blah 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 blah. This is gonna be massive." And then Cid is like the only guy that was like, "Yeah, it's gonna go up a little bit, but it's gonna dump really hard." And so I was like, shit, like I don't want that to happen, but he's probably right. And then what happened? It went up. And then when swell was just a complete ugh, I mean, there wasn't really anything good that came out of that except for CKJ.
Oh, dude. Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. That was really funny. But it's straight up like dove. And Cid called it well before that. And I was actually very, very surprised and very impressed.
Yeah, it blew me away as well. I was really looking at the chart very deep on. I missed out big time on this move. I speculated this move was going to happen in this time frame. It was about just 5-7 days before it happened, and all of a sudden it did. I was like, no freaking way, right? So this confirmed my theory of when I got into the market. And for a lot of you were asking like, hey Cid, when did you get into the market? I got in like right here because I saw the end, but I didn't catch the very, very bottom. I got in around like 34 cents around. Yeah, it was about 34 cents. And then it started spiking up. I was like, oh my gosh, I did it. I'm a wizard. I'm doing it, and then it's like dumping. I was like, what the? what the hell? You know,
Yeah, what happened?
whatever we made here went right back to ground zero. Like, oh man. And then at that point I was like, oh, I'm negative. And then it pumped up. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then it went right back down to zero. I was
Yep.
like, okay, I need to look at this even deeper. Maybe I missed something on the bear market. I'm not there yet or something. So I did get in at a good time. Was it the best time?
No.
Probably better than most, but it's my own perspective, right? I think I did a pretty good job at, when to enter. If I knew I had to come down here, it's really hard to call the bottoms on things. So I think it wasn't too bad, but I could have played this move big time on a short or a long in this particular case. But you know what? I learned from that. And now, because of that, I learned that back then, this guy did a pump and dump. And sure enough, I was like, guys, it's gonna dump pretty hard. I don't know how low, but it's gonna go pretty deep, around 30 cents at least, or I mean, I sold at 29 cents is when I
Right.
got out because I wasn't sure how high I was going to go. I scalp on that. So I'll zoom in a little bit here for you. And I was waiting for these moving averages. Oh yeah, and I should tell you guys the moving averages. Okay. So this teal line is the simple moving average, the 20. Okay. And then for the pink, I have the 10 EMA. And then I have the 21 EMA. And everyone's going to go, well, why are you using those? For me, it kind of helps me hedge when the beginning of an upward move will begin and when almost the finishing of the move, like when we're going to start going downtrending
Right.
in a way that I can see it. I'm not a professional chartist or anything like that. I'm just using what works for me based on the patterns and trends. And you're going to see some contrasts and similarities of how this is panning out. I mean, from a visual standpoint, on some of these, moving average choke points, if you will, you're going to see how they are somewhat similar in nature from a macro view. And we're going to drill into some smaller time frames to suggest why I say where we are. And I believe we are right in here to get this nice pumped candle. And let me make that a little bit bigger for you.
Whoa.
See this candle right here? It's like a Darth Maul.
Yeah.
It will whipsaw. We're going to, people are going to get wrecked on this. And this is the next move that I'm speculating that will happen based on that pump and dump scheme. Does it have anything to do with swell? No. This has to do with the market cycle. We are still following this trend. And I want to know, or what I want to tell you guys is how important this is. If this is saying where we are because we are following a trend, it will maybe give us some insight of how far away we are into Candyland. Okay. I mean, I cannot wait for this. But how far away is that from here? The beginning, right, is about 224 days away, maybe 230, right? But for me to retire around these time frames, if I only had to wait about a year to retire, I'm cool.
Right.
I don't know about everyone else who's like borrowing loans and credit cards and stuff like that. That's your ass. But
Yeah, that's rough
um,
too, man.
yeah.
A
So,
lot of people are
but
doing that right now, which sucks.
and if they are, at least they can, maybe we can give them some insight of what to potentially expect and reduce the risk of what could potentially happen. And look at this wick.
Yeah. I mean, this is the biggest problem I have with like riddles and stuff, because this is what ends up happening is, people end up getting
Exuberant.
getting loans and stuff on their houses, and And
Yeah.
it's just insane, the sort of thing that the mind goes to, uh, uh, of just thinking, oh, I could make it rich off of this. You know what I mean? I could make it big. This is going to happen. And you're listening to something that is
Cartoon
pure
bear.
speculation. Yeah, it's not. They're not like, if they can't come out and be real about it, they don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, I don't care about NDAs or any of that bullshit. That's not true. There are plenty of insiders, actual insiders, that are legit and upfront about things and tell us what's going on, rather than people that are like, oh, we're gonna hide a meaning within some picture or something like that. But yeah, I mean, this sucks when people like overextend themselves, and then I look at something like this and we don't know when utility is going to kick in. So like, we see people getting wrecked, they're going to panic, they're going to sell, they're going to lose so much money. And
Morale.
yeah, it sucks because that's their own decision. They're making their
Yeah.
own decision, but we want to be able to be like, hey, you guys take a step back. Don't make stupid decisions. Spend what you're comfortable spending. Don't overexert yourself. Don't overspend, because there is a potential that you could get completely destroyed.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, okay, this is my opinion about this. The 589 community, sure, I don't hold a blind eye to it. I do watch what's going on with some of that, but then it gets to a point where if I was that individual and I wanted to communicate to the community, I would want them to know what I am saying
Yeah.
instead of doing a circus act or putting people through the runaround and making them or having them or allowing them to come up with their own thesis of what I'm trying to convey. And if it's not correct, why would I let them misconstrue what I'm trying to
Right.
convey to them?
If
So
you're actually trying to help somebody, why would you cloud it in some dark mystery and cloud it inside some picture to where anybody can look at art and either hate it or love it?
yeah,
It's all perception. And so these people like Cugs, or Baba Yaga, as he likes to call himself now,
oh no,
are saying like, oh, I know what's going to happen. It's going to happen January 1st, 2020. If it doesn't happen by then, it's going to be January 30th. If it doesn't happen by then, it's going to be February. And then it goes on and on and on and on and on. And we've seen that for the past like 2 years. And so like they're
yeah,
I don't want to get too far into that, but it just drives me absolutely crazy.
it sucks.
That people don't really like, are not really paying attention to people like you, Sid, that are being upfront, that are being honest, saying, hey, look, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes too, but I'm giving you my honest assessment of about what's happening. And I feel like that something like this is way more valuable in the space over, even other TA guys that are like, oh, it's going to happen tomorrow. It's going to happen within the next 15 minutes. I swear, I've been looking at the 1 minute chart and we're down to the very, very second. And oops, nope, it didn't meet it. It's going to be a couple more hours. And then it just
I
constantly
know.
goes on and on. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Drives me
Okay.
crazy.
So, um, yeah, I've seen some of that, and that's why I want to share with you guys what I'm seeing here, so that way you can discern what is, does this look legit, or I'm always willing to hear what someone has to say. I'm all about collaboration, but when someone makes a historically makes bad calls, then I kind of question their ability
Yep.
to gauge or even present at that point in time. It's not I'm not trying to be like the, oh, I know better than you. I'm not into that kind of thing. Is this because I want to make some money. I want to know
Yeah. We
when,
all do.
if someone
Yep.
knows something, I want to know too. I'm game. But
Yep.
if there's a historical um, repetition to like, oh yeah, it's going to happen this month, this day. No, I meant this date. No, we got to wait a couple more weeks. And they keep drawing it out like that. It's then the credibility is, maybe you need to sit down and rethink your strategy or what it is that you're doing, and formalize a better opinion, or maybe see it work first and then convey it to everyone
Right.
else, instead of just blatantly or blindly telling people without checking it yourself, right? I mean,
Right.
we all should have some sort of accountability in that, and that's what I did right now. Is I've been waiting for these confirmations of how the trend is moving. I try to be very transparent about it. I'll show you guys on Twitter, hey, look, at this point it's still kind of syncing up right here, and that's what I've been doing. So will this trend follow all the way to the end? I don't know, but I am tracking it until it breaks. And that's when it'll
Right.
freak me out, because I'll be like, okay, I don't know what's going on, but it's way different now. So what's it going to do? Right. For now, it's following. So this kind of gives us a little bit of a kaleidoscope of visibility of what we can, speculate on. And I'll share all that. So as of right now, in front of us, I have the XRP 3-hour charts of today and back in 2016. I have my little arrow of where I think we are. And here is where that swell pump and dump was. And we went, and oh man, I was accumulating
Yep.
XRP like crazy right here. Um, and right here, for some of you may not understand what this is. This is the VPVR. This is a way to see volume at these levels, and it can kind of show you from a visual standpoint of where the support and resistance would be. And in this case, you can see that there's a lot of volume right here. So if the price is down here, it's going to run into this and fall down. That's why
Right.
you see price action go to the upside, and all of a sudden it goes down. Like, why does it do that? Well, because of support and resistance, right? And until we get enough support to break through the resistance, then it'll act as support. And right here, you're going to see where there was these levels kind of sticking out, and it ran into it, came back down, retested, came back up. And so how's this going to look? Well, um, before, I know it looks very choppy with all the long wicks. That's why it's so hard to see this, guys. And
Yeah.
I've had to really drill into the very small time frames. And look at this wick, went way down here.
Yeah.
So just like what Cyflux was saying, the price action is not going to be the same. It's the trend. The trend is somewhat formulating in the same manner years apart. So think about that. Think of the how crazy that is. Years
Yeah.
apart.
What exactly do you think causes something like that? Is that like trading bots? Is it I mean, it just seems kind of strange, like to the untrained understanding of how these charts and stuff work. Is like, how exactly does something like that come about? How are these patterns happening? And it literally just makes no sense. Like, how does anybody truly understand something like that?
Well, this goes right back to when people would say uh, prior history makes does not is not indicative to now. Well,
Right.
here you go. it
Yep.
it does. Well, look at Bitcoin. A lot of us are aware of Bitcoin's history, its ebb and flow. It has continually followed that trend, that 4-year macro cycle. I think if anyone doesn't recognize that, I'm sorry, you're completely blind, and you need to smell the
Oop,
coffee, because or
you
snort
cut
it or
out a little
some.
bit there.
Oh, okay. Well, what I was trying to say is that anyone who doesn't see this Bitcoin macro trend on the 4-year cycle, they really need to wake up,
Yeah.
because that's how this market is moving, right? And as of right now, I'm trying to pinpoint it on XRP of how close are we with this trend? Is it staying within some consistent manner? And right now, if I do a fib retrace from swing high to swing low, you're going to see we're hitting the 236 as resistance right now, and even XRP. Some of you guys are saying, "Oh, it doesn't follow TA and this and that." It does, and right now on a VPVR, it's at the 0.786. And even other chartists have been noticing that it does follow this fib at the 786. It does respect it. And even the golden ratio, and I've learned about the golden pocket, which is the 0.65, and we have the golden ratio is the 618. So I mean, think about it. So let's say we do see a pump in the next coming days to week, right? We would most likely see it find resistance at this level, which would be around 28, 29 cents. We will crawl and see other levels of resistance along the way up, and you're going to see that, and that's why we go up and down, up and down. But you're going to see where it hits resistance and it fall back on support, and it does follow fib retracements. And this is how I gauge. I mean, so many chartists out there. They this is how they make money, guys, and how they can make projections. So here, in the same manner from before, look at this. This had different price action, but it's going to be somewhat similar to back then, and you're going to see right there at the 786 and the golden ratio, right? And it's no different from back then to now. And then let me go ahead and delete these so it looks a little more clear. And down here for you guys that are just now watching this, I do have my green zone, my buying zone. If I see any price action down here, I am buying it up. Anything sub 20 and below, I'm buying it up. That's why I have my I do have this level of support right here, this golden dash line that I have, which has done the same thing as before. And look at that. It's in a falling wedge to another breakout. So we'll get into that in just a second. But just to kind of show you, even on these moving averages, we're using the same consistent moving averages of where the breakout begins, right? And the price action isn't always the same. Whoa, what happened here? I think I just moved. For some reason, my mouse keeps jumping around, but apologize about that. But
Control,
as of right now,
delete.
no. So
exit out quick.
Yeah. So we capitulated down. We dug into the cocaine area, and we bounced right back out of it really quick. We consolidated, and now we're coming into this extended amount of consolidation from before, but it's still following this trend, and we're getting ready. And even from a fundamental from Bitcoin, even other chartists are saying, hey, Bitcoin might hit a 8,200, maybe 8,400 level because of this potential move. And it's syncing right up with what XRP did before and what I'm speculating for now. I'm actually long as of right now for this move. And depending on where it tops out at, even right here, this little green box right here, I had a fib retracement to tell me where I would see the first level of resistance, so that way I could sell or profit from. So I'll show you guys one more time. Here we are, and like right in there. So I mean, look at that. Oh my gosh, I felt so good when I was like, yeah, it's not going to keep going. It's going to go back down. Then I did make a mistake. I did start my long right here. I thought it was because I got mixed up on my moving average. Big whoop-de-doo. It went back down. It didn't scare me. I already knew it was going to come back up from there. And here we are. We're consolidating again and potentially ramping up for this next potential move. So what do you have any questions about that, or maybe from your perspective of what other folks might have a question in regards to what you're seeing right here?
I mean, for the most part, you've been explaining it pretty damn good. I don't think that, I don't think that I have anything.
So let's say this is right. Let's say this is right. Okay, we're going to be super speculative here. We pump up maybe 26 to 29 cents could be even 30, right? I mean, that would be suggesting up in this area. And I had this blue line here to show the median from a support and resistance level of XRP's chart. And I'll show you guys what that looks like. But for right now, the next speculative move of what I want you guys to consider. You see the sideways chop? That's going to be super boring. This is going to kill everyone. Oh yeah, we're going up. We're going up to almost 30 cents. And then it just freaking retraces. Right?
Yep. Yeah.
And let's do a swing low to swing high. Swing low to swing high. And there we are, coming back down to the golden ratio again, and then only staying within this band up to the 382 for quite a while. It was like several months. Let me delete this guy. And here we go. We'll measure from where we are now to when this happened. Right? 40 days. Right? It's about a month. When I first recognized this, I was like right about here. So it was about like a 2-month-ish time frame for me to get ready for in this particular case. So, but look at this guy. Look at this.
Yep.
And I do agree. This looks similar to the prior one that we just had that ran up to like 55 cents, depending on which chart you're looking at. But look, we are in this, descending wedge. It's a bullish pattern, and we're going to
can you show the other side, left side?
Oh, this one.
Like okay. Zoom out a little bit.
Yeah. So here we are, and I can put it this way so you guys can see this. So I'll let you guys retrain your eyes on this, and if you want to see the similarities here. So yeah, I understand the major wick action, and this is what throws people off, is what I noticed, this wick action. But because I've been following this from here, and it's just been like so close as of this price action in the trend, not the price, but the trend itself. And it's been following, pretty damn close. Okay. Yeah. So if I'm so sorry, I think it's because we're doing a screen share and it jumps around. But here's this little, little rainbow speed bump, if you will. And we're like in this little area. We are double testing right here in a consolidation prior to this potential pump. And that would kind of put us like right up here, maybe 27 cents. I would love to see that. And then maybe we have this trend line falling all the way down, just like what a lot of people have been doing. And then they think that, hey, we moon. I'm thinking maybe we see a rally. If we moon, it doesn't matter to me. I still win, so I don't care.
Yeah.
But for a couple months, I know a lot of people are calling for a crypto Christmas and this and that. I think we get this little fake pump, is what I'm going to call it. It's a fake pump. We consolidate, and then we basically coil up for this next speculative big move for our next rally phase. And this is about a couple months long. 82 days, about a couple months long. And look what it did. It went all the way back down to zero of what everyone gained. So this is what you guys need to consider. This is the probability, very high, that something like this will happen. And yes, we will have another, a wedge pattern duplicated. Maybe this happens 3 times because the cycle elongates or something. We need to think about that. It doesn't just happen once. It happens twice in a prior market. Maybe this market we see 3 of them. Who knows? But as of right now, we're following it till this day. So I disagree. We are here based on the current price action that we see. All right. So here on Bitcoin, we see it does its ebb and flow. And there's been folks, yes, I agree. We are at a very critical point, and this affects XRP holders in general from, a price point, right? The valuation of their portfolio. Will we see Bitcoin go down? I can't say it will because I have not gotten a confirmation that it's broken its trend line. We must stay above the weekly 21 EMA, and for my VWAP indicator, which is a 50-day moving average, basically it lets me know if we're bullish or bearish. And as you can see, when we are above it, we are bullish, and then as soon as we break below it, we are bearish. And this kind of tells me the trend. But look, are we above it still? I think anyone can agree, yes, right? So, and guess what? This is still following that trend line perfectly. I had this trend line here forever, and it's gone down. I was like, oh no, is it really going to happen? Is this it? Like, this is the end of Bitcoin, and my GBTC 401k is like toast? No, because I bought in around here. I was like, this is awesome, and I bought GBTC at like 3.6 and 3.8 at that time because of Fidelity, and I rode that up, man. I was like, this is awesome. Yeah, I'm it's down a little bit, but it's not. Most of my money is all in XRP and some Cardano, but this is something that we need to consider. And I know a lot of people are like, hey, this is going down or going up. I highly doubt we are going to test 20K anytime soon. In my opinion, we go up and we consolidate, and then we get ready for the next parabolic run up to test our prior all-time high, and then retrace back down 40-50%. And we will see the same thing on XRP, which would suggest this move. We go parabolic up, we retest, and then we fall back down, consolidate. And then what happens later on? Bitcoin's halvening, May 2020. So there are folks saying we are going to go parabolic right when the halvening happens. That is no. I disagree with that because prior to this, it has never pumped on the halvening. It is actually capitulated just before it. So this is because the Bitcoin miners need to sell before the price in the hash rate increases. Or well, yeah, because they're basically going to lose out. Their hash rate on their equipment is not going to be able to compete. They're losing their reward. It's halved. It's 50%. So interestingly enough, this is all synonymous with how Bitcoin's halvening dates come about. And historically, all the altcoins, including XRP, months later have rallied. So think about this, guys. 2020 in XRP's path, if we were to look at several months later, we're looking like, whoops, it's like really far. Like July, like here's like, a couple months, right? Just after. So it is suggested we run up, we come back down, and then this Q3 2020 move comes about. How high, I don't know, but we can draw our conclusions of what that might look like. And you guys are going to see some measurements here from prior all-time high to the next all-time high. What I did was I'm showing you guys how each percent of increase to the next all-time high has been halved to each one, right? 1,500, 3,500, and then from 1,500 to, roughly 500-ish, if that was the case, we are seeing a halving of increase of all-time high projections. So what would that infer here? We're looking at 100K, Bitcoin. So we could do the same thing with XRP. I can show us that on a chart. So, oh, sorry, wrong one.
You're
So
good.
here I will turn this guy off. Let's take a look at that, right? Here is, actually, let me use this guy. Oh yeah, I need to show you guys this. So I've already kind of drafted everything out. Here's where I have that potential, 45 cent to 50 cent rally, just I'm say like 40 cent plus around, somewhere in January, maybe the end of January, based on that prior or that current price action that we're witnessing right now, and the speculative bull move by Bitcoin, and then with the retracement, we start moving into this potential 45-cent rally after we consolidate. I think this should have been towards the end of January is where I originally had it. Now it's gone. Oh well. But as you can see, the end of this trend line would suggest where that if we have that falling wedge, it could pump up. And as you can see, I have the 44-cent line here, and that correlates with where it was before. And with this blue line, I have the median, which is at the 30-cent price range, and you can see where it was always acting as support. Now it's acting as resistance. We can't break above it. So until we consolidate, maybe this is when we get that breakout to the upside, getting past the 30-cent resistance and then meeting the next level of resistance. And I can show you guys that on this VPVR. My mouse keeps moving around on me.
It's not me. I'm not touching it.
Okay, so let me configure it really quick to my liking. I do a 160, and then I bring it in to like an 18, so it's not in my way. So as you guys can see, as I mentioned before, that we can see visually where the resistance areas are by using the VPVR. And here, and look, there is the 30 cents, and it's showing the level of resistance right there. Until I pull this in more, we're going to see the baseline coming down, and that's why we're hitting that, right? We are hitting that level as support. If we went below this, that would become resistance.
Yep.
As of now, we are in this channel, and see, this is why I'm calling we hit around 449. So 45 cents is going to be that. So when we break past 30 cents, that will be the next level of overhead resistance. Maybe that's what we see in the next beginning of next year. Okay, so I'm only showing you what the chart is showing me based on volume and support and resistance levels in this particular case. Can we say when this is going to happen? No, I have. If someone has an indicator that I can use to show me when price action happens, that indeed works, show me. I'm learning. I'm willing to learn that. I would love it. We cannot say when something will happen. We can kind of gauge, like what we're doing right now, the projected you know, downward moves and the upward moves based on probability. And for any of you that say that, oh yeah, TA people are trying to make predictions and this and that, maybe some people are, but if they are wrong. Okay,
Yeah.
that's how you weed them out. If they're making predictions, they're doing it. They're doing it in the wrong light. Anyone can do whatever they want, but to help you guys who are not into this or not fully aware of it, that's just how it works. And I'm just trying to be very fair and just with you. And
Yeah.
obviously you can see I'm not emotional about how this price movement happens because I have no I don't care. I already know that this has to play out first before I
Yeah.
can get excited. I'll let you guys know when I'm getting excited. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
My moon boots are, yeah.
I will too. I will too. There is a lot of information that's been coming out pretty often that's really big, and I definitely think there's moves within utility that we have yet to actually see in the open market, but I do think it's coming. We are coming up on about an hour and 25 minutes. Cid,
Yes.
is there?
Do you want me to do like a price, the next all-time high projection as a price point that could be a possibility, or do you want to save that for another time?
You can just let's try and keep it under. Yeah, let's try and keep it shorter.
I'm sorry, guys. We haven't
good.
talked to you guys in a long time, so we're just trying to give you enough information to use. But just by using a quick fib retracement, I think even some of the other YouTubers have been doing this as well. You could basically take the previous all-time high, right? I mean, sorry. Why is it doing that? So let's go. Oh, geez, my mouse keeps.
It's definitely not mine. My mouse is off to
Okay.
the side.
It's okay. I think it has something to do with
Maybe your
screen share.
Maybe your battery's dying.
No, it was only when we're doing this screen share. See, it just jumps around. But you can kind of see where we're hitting a 4.23, and basically it's just showing me the next level right there. And I'll do the same thing. Come on, man. We'll go back, to this current low, and to see that next level, right? We're looking at a $16-15 price point, and I saw some other guys finding the same thing. So I'm not nuts. Okay, that's just the beginning, right? From another perspective of this is the logarithmic projection. Some of you guys have seen that before. Let me go to. Well, actually, I don't want to show that yet. I want to show you guys that later. I don't want to show you guys that.
We'll save it. We'll save it.
Yeah, but like I said, if we are indeed following this trend, it's going to be boring, guys. I'm sorry. We might get a little bit of fun for a little bit. Have that in the back of your mind, and don't expect this mooning yet from hearing it from Cid in this case. So
yeah,
I'm not calling it yet. I don't see it until like a little bit later on, if that was the case. And if we were to make a honest projection of when we hit that next bull market, if you will, seeing the elevation of XRP's price, here you go. I mean, if we were to really follow this even before from an approximate standpoint, right? So 826, we'll go from here. Like right in there. So I'm going to say that we've actually elongated from that, right? So I want to show you the difference of that. We've elongated. Okay, so let's go to where I think we are, and that's like right here. This guy to here, and We're about 238 days away. All right, so let's go to where we are right now, right here, 200, come on, 238.
It's just not
I
doing what
know,
you like.
this is driving me crazy. Here it is. Look, and that is in summer of 2020. Booyah. And so this goes back to, why is it so important now? We're following this trend, Sid. Well, this is why. Because if we were indeed following the same measure, it would be off. But following where we currently could be at, getting a more of a narrowed path of projection, this is showing me, look, and like what I said before, the halvening, several months later, we blast off. This is my crystal ball theory for you guys. Okay. However that price action will look like, we will, retest all-time high at some point, and who knows the time period between that and going above it. We do see that it was pretty quick, right? It was quick. So I'm getting really ready for this. I am getting ready for this potential rally to come around, and I'll play on that if it does. And I'll also play on the major dip that usually happens, that chokes people out right before it happens. If we see some major wicking action, something's up. So I just want you guys to be prepared for that. And if you're trading, you better have some stop losses ready to go, because you're all going to get stomped out. I guarantee it. So there you go. That's my perception of the current macro trend and the 2016-2019 contrast. If you guys have any questions about this, hit me up. I'll do my best to follow through and respond, and also reach out to Cyflux. Want to thank all the new followers. I know that you guys are a little bit confused because you saw my Sid Vicious channel, and now you see this CryptoSphere channel. It's just one that I've done with Cyflux. He's amazing. He does really good video editing, and he's just an awesome guy, and he's pretty grounded as well. So we're just teamed up a while ago, and here we are. So if you're new followers, welcome. Thanks.
I just want to leave one last thing before I sign off. Just remember that the banks have just got the green light to basically hold and sell crypto. So the fact that you're in here at all before the banks get the green light, before the masses get in and do anything, just know that, right now it might go sideways, but it's coming. And I think that if you can hold strong and you play it smart, can honestly change your life. And that's just my opinion, but I'm sticking to it, and I'll hold it. If the ship goes down, I'm going down with it. If it goes to the moon, I'll be there too. So yeah, good luck, you guys, and I wish you guys the best.
See you guys
later.